This woman, 90 years old, who's selling property, wants to bring a gun onto somebody else's property.
Is this something you can live with, or is this a deal breaker?
This is the cabin project, yeah.
Buying a piece of property has been our dream for the last 10 years. This was supposed to happen when we lived in Newfoundland, Canada, back in 2015, 2016.
Hold on, why don't we do the
What?
the one-line hook.
What's the one-line hook?
The plan was to live in St. John's, Newfoundland, Canada, where we grew up, and to buy property there. That's where the whole property search started. But if you want to see how our lives took a huge, complete 180, we'll leave a link to that video up here. But we are now in Buffalo, New York. We continued on with the search for land, and this is our story.
This is the voicemail that I received.
Chris Nicholas, this is and I think I might have found an island that might be for sale.
Why are you nervous?
There are two things you need to know about us. Chris is a dreamer.
And now, have you thought about this island thing and the fact that this is a scenic river? If you tried to build something on it, would you have issues with septic and...
You know what, I haven't thought that far ahead.
And I am a realist. We need to think about like what the goal and the purpose and the big picture is with the cabin. It's going to be remote, it's going to be off the grid, it's not going to have electricity or toilets or shower. Or are we planning on basically building a small house? It's been really funny to look back on this footage. Who we are in these clips is not who we are today. Oh my god, you're filming me? You
Tell the viewers of Uncommon Law TV how mad you are right now.
I'm so mad. You're I hate my life right now.
We're having a great time hiking.
I don't want a cabin anymore.
All right, nix the project. Whoa!
Shut up.
I'm getting the look.
Time to go on an adventure.
No more woods.
We're going in the woods.
It's incredible how much we have changed, not only like us as people and our interests since then, but also our vision for what a cabin project or a land project actually looks like.
Oh my goodness.
What?
Becky Peckham is driving.
We're gonna look at a piece of land for a potential cabin. It's been following this channel for some time. You know that one of our dreams is to build a Nordic style minimalist cabin. So we're gonna make that a reality.
We kind of have a bunch of different ideas about where we want to build. And I know when we were in Newfoundland, we had this dream of building on the water. But down here in New York State, all of the lots on water are extremely expensive.
Millions!
Yeah.
Too much money.
Like for an acre on one of the Finger Lakes, you're looking at a lot approaching $1 million.
Finger Lakes. Oh! It reminds me of like those witch finger cookies with like the almond nail.
Almond. Reminds you of surgical gloves. We always had this idea of being on the water, but land on the water down here is very expensive.
And it doesn't look also this. It's still beautiful, but it doesn't have the same type of look that we were looking for in Newfoundland.
We also wanted a lot of land.
We want to be out in the woods, making tea, making fires. Wait, where? Shit. Was I supposed to go down there?
I think you just missed it.
Well, yeah.
What do you think?
Wow, it's very, very steep. Muddy. It's loud. It reminds me of that one time where you pulled me through the brush in Newfoundland in the dead ass of winter in my rubber boots. Remember that?
I think it's warm now.
Look, the shore's right there. Look, right there. All right. Potential land. That could work out. That's a nice spot.
Is that a scratch on the lens? Oh, Jesus. So at this point, we really didn't know a lot about acquiring land or what to really do with land. We had already done one home renovation. I think this is poison oak, but I'm not sure.
We're not very outdoorsy, are we?
This is a complex scenario. And we were kind of just getting started into our current home renovation. We're a lot farther along now. But we didn't really know what was involved in clearing land, putting roads on land, and it just kind of seemed really expensive, and overwhelming. It's not that easy to get in here. If it was just going to be like a shanty shack and we were just going to experience the woods for what it was and just build something small, for what we were talking about building, I think like it's just going to be really too difficult and expensive. Like I think I'd rather look for something that's a little bit more ready, where there's like still like a bit of access that's not like
I just think you're going to be difficult finding a place that's 50 plus acres that's on a stream that has both water and large acreage. That's an affordable price. It's not over $100,000.
But it's gonna be way more than over $100,000, even just like clearing it. Like you need to get a tractor in here to dig post holes to put down footings. Run!
That's steep up there.
I'm pretty like hard no on this right now.
Well, I think we still need to see that corner over there where the stream starts.
It helps if you put your arms behind your back like a Naruto run. Yeah, Steph, do you regret taking us on as clients?
No, never.
She has to say that. We're filming right now.
I think it's going to be very, very expensive. Way too expensive and like logistically really tough. After we turned down this property, it came off the market and then it came back on the market with a bunch of roads cleared in it. And it was like $60,000 more expensive. And I was like, oh, you could put roads on this property. And so during this process, as we've seen things pop up on the listings, come off the listings, and as we went and looked at a bunch of stuff, we started to kind of realize what it would take to develop a piece of land.
We're looking at 3 properties today, 2 of which are close together, 1 of which is almost 2 hours away. Oh, look, it's our friendly real estate agent, Steph. I was like, Becky, you're such a dork dressed up for the woods. Meanwhile, I've got a goddamn sword.
I'm a little creeped out. I feel like I'm about to see a dead body.
At this point, we noticed that a lot of different properties had almost like different character woods on them. Some places we went had a lot of mature trees, walk the grounds really nicely. There was no thick brush you had to kind of bushwhack through. We really liked the idea of that type of woods, being able to kind of walk through it. Whereas other places we saw, the trees were younger and there was a whole bunch of thick brush, you know, sometimes thorns. And it created a property that really wasn't that walkable. I was asking a buddy I work with who's really into, you know, outdoors activities, hunting, and what he told me actually blew my mind. He said that that's because they've been regularly harvesting the wood and clearing some of the land. Harvesting the timber thins the canopy up top, allows light to penetrate, and then allows all the underbrush to grow. And he said, as a hunter, I prefer that. If I've got, you know, a wide open mature forest that's never been logged, you know, the wildlife could be anywhere. They'll essentially see me before I see them, so it makes it hard to hunt. So he says, while you and your wife might like a nice walkable forest, I, as a hunter, like a thicker underbrush where I can control the wildlife through game trails. And most empty land around Western New York is probably being used by hunters. So majority of the land is probably going to be not quite ideal from a hiker's perspective. It was really narrow and far back.
Next!
So I wasn't as impressed. The woods was nicer, but the grade was like the same.
So we're going to look at property number, what is this number?
1 million.
Let me bring you guys up to speed on where we're at. We had a couple of other ones on the list that we wanted to check out. One that had a cabin, which we thought was going to be really promising. Turns out it was super sketchy, stunk, stank, stink, mouse poop, mold, dirt, disgusting, not great.
The land that they were selling was on a steep grade, so obviously the price that they were asking reflected that they thought that the cabin was of value. It was not.
The next one we saw, we liked it so much that we saw it twice. And the price was half decent. It had been on the market for like 700 days. We were about to make an offer when we were informed that there were not 1, but 2 other offers on the table on top of ours.
Since there was no movement on this land for 700 days, we put in an offer under asking price. The real estate agent came back and said, oh, since your offer has been submitted, we have another offer on the table. Do you want to change your initial offer? Given all of the aforementioned things we talked about, it being close and having electrical up the road, it working on all those different factors, let's up our price to more than we want to pay for it and just hope for the best. So we did that.
So a day later, Steph calls us with a counteroffer. Now there are 3 offers on this property, including ours.
And the whole thing resets. She's like, everyone goes back to their best and highest offer.
Yeah, which puts us back to basically going over asking price, which was basically over our intended budget for this land. Honestly, I had this like gut feeling of not wanting to go over asking price. Something wasn't sitting right with me, and for me, I listened to my gut a lot, and that was telling me don't do it. We kind of countered back at an offer that we were comfortable with, knowing damn well that we were gonna lose the property, and we did. So we moved on. We've been looking for a couple of weeks, and we found a property that was listed in a close-ish area, but it was way higher than our budget, but there were no photos, and it was bigger. So we decided to go and look at the land in hopes that there would be no interest because there were no photos, therefore no one could see what the land looks like, and maybe we could get it for cheaper. Hi, hello. I'm nervous because there's no photos of this place online, but I feel like we've looked at every single property so far that's on the listing thingy, and there's nothing that's saying like, ooh, pick me. And if this place sucks, then there's like not a lot left.
This is pond.
It's cool. It's really steep here, but it's not really steep there. Okay, so during this process, we got really into pond building. We fell down the pond building rabbit hole on YouTube.
What do you mean we?
Chris fell down the pond building rabbit hole on YouTube. I'm having lunch. This is a lot different than when we were using hand sanitizer during this video. Peak pandemic.
Oh my God, yeah. We were wearing our masks in the woods.
That's what we did
It
back
was
then.
in 2020, man.
We quickly kind of realized that finding a property with a pond on it actually wasn't a big deal because we could build our own pond if we really wanted a pond that bad. And that kind of opened up the possibilities for any other property basically with that knowledge. This is the one I've been the most excited about so far. I'm ready to empty my bank account for this property.
Are you really?
Yes. This is what I was picturing.
What's the asking price?
109,000. I think we just have 109,000. Yeah, it's double what we were planning on paying. But pond, there's electric at the road. There's like a fucking hill that looks over this pond, that looks over this beautiful valley. That's like the perfect location to pitch a cabin. It's better than anything.
Wow, you were skeptical too. That's me. I was scouring
I'm surprised you did that 'cause of the
scouring
price.
the aerials.
I'm surprised you did that because
It looked promising though with the pond.
This is a good
More
investment.
options don't
Yeah.
ever hurt you.
This is a good investment.
They're getting a survey done first before they listen to offers.
Correct.
Because it might not be 30
So now we're back at the same part we were at with the previous property where we were hoping we were gonna get this one for less, and now we're gonna be competing for it, and it's at a higher price point than the previous one. This piece of land is way better. Today, because we have a couple of days until we have to basically make a decision if we wanna fight for this property or not, we're going out to a property that's a little bit farther away to check it out.
How big of a project do we want this? We initially were talking about a little tiny A-frame in the woods.
Yeah.
And that ballooned to like a fully fledged cabin that has all the modern amenities like running water. We have a sort of an idea of what we want, but the final vision, it could be far different from what we're picturing now.
Yeah.
Like right now, if we were gonna buy a small piece of land for like $30,000, we have enough for that plus a small A-frame cabin, like already saved up. But if we blow all of our money on the land,
We have
it
to
just
wait.
means we have to reaccumulate money to actually build the cabin. What's wrong?
Well,
Get your boots on.
this starts here and goes vertical.
I mean, it's really pretty.
Yeah, but it's impractical. It's gorgeous. Here, except for there's like a natural gas station right across the street, which is hideous. This is beautiful. What is this?
A grade?
This is the worst grade we've seen on any properties thus far. Nope. Yeah, let's build right here next to where we can have a view of this power plant. Now I know why it was 30 grand.
I would love to build a cabin right next to something like this, but the problem is that the road is right there, as well as some natural gas power plant right across the street, so it's not really sort of in the woods. This whole land search has been interesting because the criteria we have are all over the place, and I think it all started with our idea back in Newfoundland when we were looking for a place to buy land because every spot was on water. There's so much uninhabited land on the island of Newfoundland. There's waterfront property everywhere, but now we're in New York State and every single square foot of the state is privately owned, and there's not a lot of bodies of water. My idea was always having a cabin near water, and now that's not as easily done. One of the things we want is a lot of land around the cabin so that we can land the helicopter. We don't have to worry about neighbors getting perturbed about it. But having a lot of land on a lake is millions of dollars here in New York State, which is not financially doable for us. So there's also a lot of little rivers and streams around here. So I've kind of compromised and thought, okay, I like the idea of building the cabin right next to a river with a stream in it, sort of almost kind of the same style as the Frank Lloyd Wright Falling Water property. That's why I was kind of excited about this property, because the photo showed this little tiny waterfall and I thought it'd be awesome, but it just doesn't work. This is the steepest grade we've seen yet. It's basically just a cliff. This little water feature is right off of a road with a big power plant behind it. So this isn't gonna work. I think the last property we saw is probably the top contender because it has that pond. Unfortunately, that's also the most expensive. I don't know if it's something we want to spend the money on.
At the time, we thought that this property, the one that the pond was the one. Turns out we lost it.
That was like empty the piggy bank completely.
We really decided to buy property at the worst time ever, peak pandemic. We have been looking for property basically since we moved to Buffalo in 2017. Our push to really pull the trigger on the project was during lockdown 2020 up into the spring. All I could think about was being out in the woods, having a cup of tea, and like making fires.
You and like the rest of Western New York, because at that point, we were like peak market. There were 10, 15, 20 offers on every property. Things going for like well over asking price. I think it was the beginning of over asking price trends.
Yeah, it was a terrible time to buy.
Yeah.
All right, it's been months and months. A property has popped up. We are going to have a look at it. That almost March 2021.
We haven't seen you in like a year, I feel like.
Has it been that long?
No,
It's been a while though.
It's like 6 months maybe.
I miss you guys.
Oh, I miss you too. Have you taken us on as clients yet?
I called the listing agent.
So he said, well, you know, most people are just doing drive-bys, so feel free to send them. I'm like, yeah, that's not going to work for my client. You're going to want to walk it.
Does Steph know us or does Steph know us?
Last offer was 27 offers, 11, 23, 15.
Holy.
And that's in like last week.
Wow.
Everything has been very brisk.
You think this one's going to be a similar scenario?
It could be. I mean, vacant, some people don't like to walk vacant land in the winter. I think you'll get a few offers, but you might not get as many as if it were in the springtime.
Beautiful, huh?
God, yeah.
I think this could be it.
I think it could be it too.
And this is within the property. Are you smiling? I think all I can see is your eyes getting squintier. I love it.
I love it.
I love it.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's just keep looking. And
Definitely.
this is fantastic.
Yeah.
So isn't that relaxing, this babbling brook?
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear it over my heavy breathing.
You're heavy breathing. This is my island right here. It's kind of like a little island in the middle of a river. Are your feet as moist as mine, Becky?
Nope, I'm wearing waterproof boots.
Are your feet as moist as mine?
Dude, this is awesome. I love it.
There's a nice mix of evergreens and deciduous trees here. Yeah?
Dude, that one was so much better than all the other ones we've seen so far.
Yeah.
But there's clearly a lot of interest because the price point is really good and there's a lot of footprints in there.
I'm excited about it.
I'm excited about it too.
Yeah.
When we came down over the bank,
Yes.
I was like,
Yes. This one, I think, showed better than it looked in the pictures.
remember what happened with the house?
Yes.
Yeah, we need to do what we can to get this one.
Okay. All right. Let's do it. Also, my feet are completely wet.
Banana transition!
If you are interested, we need to get an offer over to him.
When we came to that land, we were so excited. We also didn't want to get too excited because we knew what the market was doing, so we didn't want to get our hopes up, but we went in pretty high because we wanted the property pretty bad.
I feel like it was at that weird awkward time where like people were listing properties with the old prices. The prices have all been inflated in everybody's eyes from the buyer standpoints because anybody who's buying has probably attempted to put offers in on land, and when you're competing against 15 to 30 other people, you have to pay well over asking price. It was at such a rapid inflationary phase that like the sellers were putting up properties at what they thought was fair market value and getting just astronomical numbers higher than what they were asking. And it was a great time to sell land, no doubt.
So nervous right now.
I'm not actually nervous at all.
Really?
Yeah. We gave it our all.
We did everything in our power to do what we could do. With this house, we went over. You didn't even want to come see this house, and then we loved it.
What does Steph say? When you know, you know. But I also got a good feeling about it, so I think I know.
Hello?
Hey, I am so sorry about the delay.
Okay, I kind of got worried that you got murdered or something. I'm gonna shit in my pants.
Long story short, they accepted your offer.
Yay! Oh, fine. I just shit in my pants. No kidding. Oh.
It is yours.
Oh my god, that's so exciting. No more traipsing through the woods for miles and miles.
We've dragged your ass on so many hikes.
I'm kind of sad.
All right, well, thank you for all your hard work.
Yes, thanks, and for your patience with us as well.
Well, congratulations.
Congratulations to you.
We're now proud owners of land.
So our offer got accepted and we were really excited, but we didn't want to get too excited because anything could happen between getting accepted and then getting the contract signed and then closing on the property. This is kind of where things got a little bit
Weird.
Steph just texted us a couple hours ago and said that she has an update worthy of filming, and then she put a cry face emoji. I'm nervous.
Maybe they decided not to sell us the land.
That's
Did you get a ping of anxiety just then?
I have good news, weird news. So,
ooh.
That noise.
good news is the owner signed the contract. Here's the weird news. Owner is 90.
cannot go anywhere on her own, needs her son to drive her anywhere. She's not very mobile. According to the listing agent, and these are his exact words, she considers herself, and I quote, a badass deer hunter. As she sat at the table with her attorney, I don't know if I want to sell the land. What if I want to hunt deer? They're like, what? When was the last time she went hunting? It's like, I don't know, 2 decades. So they handwrote in a clause that until her death, that if she wanted to hunt deer on the property, she would have that ability.
First, her, like only?
It's just her.
It's kind of scary.
Like, this is America. Like, people with guns
That's why I'm
are a real
concerned.
threat.
Highly unusual.
Like, if we were getting a screaming deal on a piece of land, it's like, okay, we can make some concessions. We paid 50% over asking price. We specifically were avoiding, like, places that had, like, mineral rights and all that. And Becky, you don't sound okay with it. If you're not, if you're not okay with it.
Definitely a curveball. Let us know in the comments what you would have done in that situation.
But we got off the phone with Steph. I said I was okay with it. Becky, you weren't really that okay with it.
I'm not really.
I don't think this is a realistic concern.
I just want no strings attached.
Sometimes you have to make concessions in order to make a deal happen or risk the whole thing falling down.
This woman wants to bring a gun onto somebody else's property.
Is this something you can live with, or is this a deal breaker? In these situations, I always try to be like, run the scenario from like multiple perspectives and think like, am I the asshole? As lovely as it is, I think it's too far. I'm prepared to walk away from it because I talked to 2 hunters today.
Oh, you did?
And they said, walk the f away from the deal. You will never find anybody that will go for that deal.
My stomach was in knots today because my gut was saying, walk away.
Yeah, like if we walk away and it goes off and they take it off the market or it goes to somebody else, I'm fine with that. Mm-hmm. Amidst all of this back and forth with this amendment, the current owner of the land went to get her hunting license, and apparently they were just like, no, you can barely walk. But it definitely was a curveball that we were not expecting. But either way, the problem fixed itself, and I'm glad it did, because when we polled, close friends and family, we literally had opinions that spanned the entire gamut of the decision tree. So let us know what you would do in the comments below, because I actually think that this is a very interesting turn of events that probably would have a lot of people doing a lot of different things.
Well, everything worked out really great, and we are currently standing on our property, which we've had now for 3 years. We were really overthinking about what we were going to be doing with this property to the point where we just weren't using it.
We went camping on a campsite we paid for, and I looked over and I said, Becky, how much did we pay for this campsite? And you said? $50 hairs. And I said, why aren't we camping on our own land? And you said,
holy shit, dude.
True. Good idea.
Good idea. Plan is still to put a cabin on this property, but right now we've just decided that we are going to get to know it.
So going back to the whole thick underbrush with a logged property or a semi-logged property versus a forest that's been completely untouched, is mature, and there's no underbrush. This property was kind of both. You could tell it was at some point logged, but it was logged a long time ago because a lot of the trees are still very mature. And in turn, there's not a lot of underbrush. So this forest is nice and walkable, but they did clear trails through the area. So it's not like it's been completely undeveloped either. And the forest is so, I guess, mature, and the canopy is so thick in areas that Becky and I can literally just walk between trees and see the whole properties.
We started building out our own personal campsite. We're not renting it. This is just for us, our family, and our close friends. Yeah, we're gonna be spending a lot of time camping here. We're gonna build out a little campsite, and then eventually we're gonna go ahead and hopefully build some kind of bunkie or cabin or something.
The plan could change 10 times in the next few years. As we saw in the last 3 years, we went from full-blown cabin to like a campsite. So who knows? But you know what? We've had a lot of fun on it. We're excited to take you guys along for the journey.
And we're going to basically document the entire process of us building out our campsite, and then eventually our bunkhouse, cabin, whatever we end up doing, construction, camping, and a little bit of outdoor cooking, I think, as well. Cool. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next week for another one. It's a teeny weeny beanie. Teeny weeny beanie.
This is the story all about
how our life got turned upside down.
Exactly.
And I'll tell you about a time we bought land in Western New York. Dumb.
Yeah, so stupid. Forest is mature enough to prevent the undergrowth so that we can A, walk through it, but also B, fly a drone through it and not get snagged on little tiny microscopic branches of.
In classic Chris Nicholas fashion, he has lost the drone and he has been gone for a little bit of time, so I'm gonna go look for him. Chris! The things that are important next to a cabin. Lowe's, Walmart, Wegmans, Applebee's.
Go on a date.
Yeah. Come on, let's go.
Get your toilet paper in case you have any roadside emergencies.
Yeah, in case I got shit in the woods. Come on, let's go.